Earlier this week, we brought you the story of a Minneapolis man whose lawn was cut by the city. The city said his grass violated city ordinance since it was taller than 8 inches. But Michael Ashnell says his grass is part of a prairie restoration project. John Lawrenson has been following this story, and I understand, John, there are some things that homeowners can do to prevent this from happening to them.
Yeah, Liz, the city says they're looking out for what they call nuisance lawns. Those are lawns in which the weeds and grass have grown out of control. Michael Ashnell said after he received a letter from the city, he tried calling them to explain his side. The city says they never received his message and mowed his lawn. Today we learned a little more about how situations like this one can be avoided in the future.
This will really bloom now in 2 or 3 weeks. This would be fantastic to see.
Years ago, Ron Bowen took a leap of faith and ventured into the prairie restoration business.
30 years ago, it was much more challenging to find even a small minority of people who would look at this and go, oh, isn't that great? Today, it's much more accepted.
Accepted as long as there is communication. Ecologically, Bowen says these types of lawns are fantastic, but aesthetically, they can be challenging. That's why he recommends keeping the city and, just as important, your neighbors up to speed on what you are doing, which is technically creating a natural garden, not a front lawn.
In a good planting, it's a mix of flowers and grasses, and they're all native plants. And oftentimes, in a real residential area, the edge has a mowed strip on it.
The strip of turf grass can be key. It works as a natural border, and Fred Schramm swears by it.
And we had different things with our lawn, different lawn diseases, fungal diseases, and that type of thing.
When he and his wife decided to plant native plants and grasses, it was easier to sell the neighborhood on the idea because of this strip of Kentucky bluegrass. Now 90% of his lawn is self-sustaining, and next to marrying his wife, he claims it's the best thing he's ever done. What is left to mow isn't much.
I mowed the lawn actually this morning in about 8 minutes. That's a big savings in gas and legwork and that type of thing.
And as we mentioned at 5 today and even earlier this week, until your native grasses have developed, it's good to have some kind of signage in your yard, letting people know what's going on. Ron Bowen told me that these types of projects are much more difficult for associations to agree upon, but he says overall the perception has changed. 30 years ago, about 90% of the lawns he installed got some kind of negative response. Today, Liz, he says that only about 15 to 20% of the projects get negative feedback.
So just keep the lines of communication
That's right.
open.
That's key.
All right, John. Thank you.